When you're on the red side, you want to first ban the champion you never want to have to think about. And that's why the Taliyah is usually the first ban on red side. When we saw it held for so long, that's when we were like, wait, is BBQ really going to avoid the champion? They did. They tried to make a trade, but I think the execution let them down, even though they had a lot of power picks. Not going to be a factor this time. You see Irelia and Taliyah, often usually a duo on the red side banned away, so I guess that says the Tempt doesn't want to be piloting the Irelia, and it does leave open kind of a bonus ban for the side of Hanwha Life, and the Master Yi goes down. They get one more to round it out.
Well, the Alistair would be banned here if BBQ want to do exactly the same bans from game number 1, but nope, it's going to be Nocturne taken away from Songwon. He is very, very good at anything that can get ganks started, so just going to take that one away from him. Another global not going to be available for Hanwha Life.
Vladimir available. Likely first pick if left open based on recent trends. Shen also is going to be a big pick if bruises are coming in, but with the Nocturne taken away, it's a little bit lower priority. The Zoe's the other blind pickable mid laner, and Tempt ran it not to success in game number 1. We banned away here from Hanwha Life, so 2 bans. Take it in there, and the Vladimir, like we mentioned, he's really up there because of his 3-lane proficiency. Will be the first pick for BBQ.
And also, Ares was very impressive with how he played out team fights, as well as, you know, of course, the laning phase was no worries either. They managed to get first blood down there, largely to do with Ignar, of course. But the Rise to be picked into it could certainly be an option. And Songwon, I mean, if his Nocturne's banned, pick the Camille. You can do it right now if you want to.
Definitely would be a very strong red side first 2
Graves
picks.
also available.
I'm a big fan of the Camille just because level 2 Camille has more options than Graves. It needs a bit of setup CC to actually burst people. But Camille went second round, so the priority between these 2 teams hasn't been as high. And this is a odd duo in previous seasons, but makes perfect sense. We're going to see the Rise for the bot lane role, most likely mid lane Lulu, and now Xin Zhao or Camille could fit in as the final pick on the red side and allow them a very powerful 2v2 skirmish. So really liking the first round here from Hanwha.
Yeah, Hanwha just leaving all of their options open as well, like you say, just flexibility absolutely everywhere. Shen still remains available, and it is going to be lapped up once again by BBQ. Crazy had a good time in the laning phase, but Camille is going to be left up, and it is taken by Bono. Can he avoid the stopwatch button this time is the question, and I have a feeling he should be able to.
Xin Zhao is very powerful here. Olaf could be considered as well. The Elise, the favorite from Songwon, they looked wonderful on the first time out, but synergy with Lulu not quite as high. Let's see what the decision is here. Jungle is the expected pick in this round.
I'd love as in. You're exactly right. But Linderong, remember, this is the guy that's had the most success. 50% win rate so far, but that's impressive because everybody else is on 0.
Very, very interesting pick here because they're picking a top lane. It could, of course, be for Songyun as well, I guess. Outside chance, but heavily expecting it. The nice thing about the Darius here is they still, of course, have the flexibility of playing around. And we're not 100% certain that Vladimir will be in the duo lane. So many different counter picks, so many things to consider. Hearts go out to the drafting coaches especially.
Oh yeah.
So many things to talk about. We've seen a lot of this cannon banned away. One single game of cannon ended up being a AP support cannon. A lot of marksman cannon in solo queue going for the Play the Ruin King into Frozen Mallet old school AD build. Not going to be seeing any cannons in this particular game.
Not going to be seeing any Toadfish either, as the Tahm Kench is going to be banned away. Sneakily, Tahm is on 100% win rate so far in the LCK, so getting rid of it does make some sense and was really good in the hands of Key in the first game.
And for the team as well for the rotational play. So I agree, the Tahm Kench ban may become more of the norm, and you know, Tahm Kench's gone. They just don't want to deal with the Pyke. We saw the level 2 kill. In the 2v2, so Key's probably like, hey, could I get a little bit of help here? And they ban away the Pikes. So we're spared the ear-curdling sound of his W. Please, Riot Games, fix that.
Yep. And Ghostwater Dive is just not exactly the one that we want to be considering here, as Graves is going to be taken off the board. So Hanwha Life, second round of picks, and what is Songwon going to play? The Olaf, like you mentioned earlier on, still up and available, but Xin also still there.
I really like Xin Zhao Lulu or Olaf Lulu here because the 2v2 can actually out-duel the Camille. Seeing a lot of nods of the head. It was like those two are open, and because we named Elise, Xin Zhao, and Olaf, and there were only 2 bans open, I think that's why they took the Darius, kind of playing towards Linderong, and then just went for one or the other. They stick with the Olaf, so that's their choice. The last picking to solve our question marks about the carry roles, but now our question marks go to BBQ. Are they happy to go in the Vladimir versus Rise side? And like they're looking at a Karthus. Wow, Karthus Nunu in the second
Nunu's
round.
gonna come in, and that is going to mean that the Shen is technically going to be support, and I feel like the Darius did price BBQ into doing that. And it means that the bottom lane is going to feel a lot better for Hanwha Live.
It's going to be a lot about ward patterns here. They don't have the Nocturne. They can't just put down a single ward and have Nocturne initiate and kill Nunu and Karthus in transition. On the side of Hanwha Live, how they're going to round out the drop. Looking for a support. I'm going to try and crush lane. They're going Soraka.
The classic Karthus counter. You just get a wish in there, and the Requiem not as great. Of course, this is going to be a hyper-farmed Karthus, so I don't think the wish is going to be able to be that effective against it, but we'll see how Hanwha Live go.
This is a very strong 5th pick red side support. We've had many metas where you take support on the red side final pick. Waiting to see how this all goes. Almost certainly going to be Lulu mid lane. Soraka crushes Shen in lane because it is going to be that melee champion. Soraka gets a lot of value here. So that's what they get with their counter pick, waiting for the final moments, but this kind of has to be the way. Karthus is definitely going mid lane. You want Lulu, so you have the Lulu Olaf. Got duos. Shen Nocturne, that's a duo. The Nunu Karthus, that's a duo. A new duo is Lulu mid and basically any invading jungler.
Yeah, any invading jungler or jungler that just wants to get in your face with melee attacks. Linderung also happy to get sped up and into a fight, and Soraka's going to help with that as well. I mean, adding that wish just means the staying power of these bruises is so much higher. They've got basically 0 range at all, though. So can Hanwha Live navigate around what is limited siege ability?
And can a Nunu Karthus win in Korea? Not winning in Challenger, not winning in the LCK. What about now?
Well, this could be the opportunity for it. Seems like they don't have as many things to overcome this time around. No Yi Tariks to get over, and no big Mordekaisers to start off a snowball as well, like KT were able to do. Hanwha Live do have Lava with the Lulu like UCal did, though. So is it going to be history repeating itself, or can BBQ bring us to Game 3? Let's go.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
BBQ fans, they're just so passionate. There's about 7 of them here, Papa, but they're so loud. Level 1, though, that's even louder. The axe is going to miss, though. Without an undertow, it might be difficult, but Tempt is going to have to flash after the second one lands. That's a flash in. The Apprehend taken level 1, and that is a Soraka grabbing first blood.
That's sort of action you're going to see when you have Olaf. The one thing Olaf gives over a Xin is level 1 power. You know these guys are all about going for the power farm, and you also know, Atlas, that level 1 wards are the way to answer this Nunu Karthus, to get the respawn time, is to know which side of the jungle they're on. Now, if they try to poke their head over to a camp, Tempt can die if the Olaf ever shows up.
And Key just went back and got a Ruby Crystal as well because of how early that was. I feel like Songwon he had all of this pent-up First Blood aggression. He was playing a level 6 jungler. He hated it and had to kill someone at level 1.
And look, Ares and Ignar, because of the last pick Soraka, we're going to have their own pent-up aggression, because laning against Emax Soraka with Scorch and also Summoner Aerie is the worst thing ever for a Shen in particular. Remember though, Linderung took E at level 1, so he's actually pretty rubbish in these trades.
Yeah, he's going to be able to use it here onto Crazy, who gets that passive stacked up, meaning the trade isn't as bad for Linderung.
Should be a monstrous trade though. You actually crush level 1s, like old GP with Slow from years ago.
Yeah.
But the point I was trying to get to when it came to specifically the bot lane is that now, what was the way to deal with the Sorakas we've seen in the last year or so? Just gank her. Now, she's got her flash. It's actually Barrier and Ruby Crystal Soraka. So just gank her is actually not going to work.
No. And also, what are you going to gank her with, Papa?
The Nunu, who's not going to be anywhere near.
Yeah.
It's actually the best spot ever to pick Soraka. They're basically picking Soraka against no jungle.
Yeah.
And against a melee support.
And they also just got like a whole game turned around almost based on a Soraka yesterday, so they know exactly how painful it can be in the right hands. Key, of course, has been really good at these sort of caster-based supports as well. I mean, we all know his Bard. He's going to be able to be unleashed in the same way this game.
Soraka's basically solo win bot lane, and we already know that Ryze versus Vlad is a winning matchup. This is double winning in the bot side. Speaking of winning,
yep, a little bit more winning to come out as Crazy gets slowed by an undertow from really long range.
Sacks.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, Crazy doesn't make it over the wall, though. That means he's going to have to flash, but he flashes the wrong way. And now Love is just going to be able to get himself in on the assist. Little Ants is going to be enough. A lot of value comes out of that tactical sweep, but it's just not enough. And Linderon grabs his first kill of the game.
Felt like we did not see the most brain power used by Crazy there on the escape. You can't actually pop over the wall with the hook shot, and then he flashed not over the wall either and died. That was
there was a couple of over-the-wall options, and he just didn't get any of them. And it meant that they got an extra assist onto the kill at the same time. So I feel like, yeah, there are a lot of things that you could criticize from that moment.
He had so many different ways he could go. Why did he choose that one?
Oh, not entirely sure.
Well, that happened.
That did. We're going to have to just take a bit of a breather and move on here as Tempt has got himself a whole bunch of CS.
Sadly, now if you kind of follow the checklist of problems, Crazy, as this is just what happens when you overextend against a Soraka bot, good fun. Crazy can't really play the lane patterns he wants against Darius. You want to be able to use the hook shot aggressively and not die when the enemy jungler comes. Well, he's got no flash for ages, so he's going to have to show respect. The Bono Tempt thing is behind because Tempt doesn't have flash, and unfortunately bot lane's a disaster from pick ban where they got double counterpick for just the most counterpick possible.
But Papa, what's the good news for BBQ?
I mean, the chicken's pretty tasty.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
You asked a question, I answered it.
Yep, I didn't even know you'd be able to come up with anything. As Songwon, he's down 1v2, even able to steal away a puppy. It's just going from bad to worse here for BBQ. They can at least get some farm here as Love is going to dodge a whole bunch of Skittles. Tempt unable to land anything. He took Yukal's words from last night to heart. If you don't get hit by the Skittles, it's really easy to play against Karthus.
I mean, it was only a 2/3 Yukal. He did get hit by the last skill.
That's true, but Ignite, he's going to get in there. That's a flash taunt to try and get Sungyun out of here. The Ignite is down, and they're just going to go back home. Sungyun, he's got teleport.
That was actually really worth it for Ignite. That's the only thing he could have lane presence on was to taunt, flash, and Ignite, because now Ares actually gets a decent back. There was no way in hell he would ever get a preferential back against double counterpick and no jungler on his side. So that was the only way he was ever going to get it back. I actually call it worth it.
And he's also ahead in farm by quite a decent margin. Sungyun gets back in here with his teleport, and I'm not entirely sure how Ares is able to create a lead this high, but he's barely missed a creep, and he's against Soraka Ryze.
Yeah, it's impressive, actually. He's been under the turret the entire time, but no real turret damage done yet. The health lead has been not available at all. Sungyun going to have to work on the Ryze laning. The Vlad laning was certainly on point before.
Oh, that feels so bad. Tempt been trying to back for the last 2 minutes of the game. Unable to.
He's hit 66 farm, and Songwon hasn't been able to kill him at a camp, so that's good news for Tempt.
Yeah, and without teleport that a lot of Karthuses would have if they were a regular Karthus, this one's got Smite, isn't going to be able to make it to this minion wave at all. Bono not going to be able to kill any of the minions because none of his buttons do any damage. Takes one of them down.
Seen 3 different schools of thought for the jungle Nunu. Jungle obviously in a bit of inverted commas. We saw a Smite item, which meant you couldn't go GP10. We saw Coin. This one's actually going to be over to the Targons.
Is this a bait here for Lava? Yes. The Wall of Pain does come in, but that's the flash. Wild Growth, I'm not sure it's going to be enough. As Key, he's going to make it in. The hero himself as Songwon wants to be able to even out this trade. They should be able to get Tempt very easily, but Linderon can't get himself into the fight, and it's just a 1-for-1. BBQ will take it.
Who baits who was the question there. It was baiting in, but someone took the long way, and there we saw the ability to take the shortest distance possible from BBQ. The punishment happens there. Going 1-for-1's not necessarily bad, even though Tempt is going to lose out on a lot of farming time. Losing out in the blue would certainly be a big cost as well, but Crazy's here as well.
Yeah, can Crazy actually take this one away is the question. Level 6 does have the ultimatum as the flash does come in just in time. There's no wish, though, for Key, so Requiem easily takes that one down and saves the blue for Tempt.
BBQ again, trade up in that particular side. Too greedy from Sungwon, who thought he was free and clear, but we already saw Camille out of lane. He doesn't have Ragnarok, and Ragnarok can't be used to leave anyway. There was multiple different reasons that he should not have considered going for that particular counter jungle. That ends up costing the side of Hanwha Life, whose execution has let them down at the start of this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, after that first blood, it felt like things were going to go all the way for Hanwha Life Gaming, but BBQ have just turned it around from capitalization on mistakes more than anything else.
And what does it mean, apart from kill credit to the Karthus? It also means that Olaf died. He doesn't have his flash, and it means the safety of dodging lane and picking up camps is higher than ever for a Karthus who did not have flash at level 1.
And also, somehow they had lane priority on the bottom side of the map and stole the other blue buff from under Hanwha Life's nose. Bad to worse here, and just inexplicably good is this Vladimir Shen lane.
I mean, there's one explanation, and it's just that, well, how many games has everyone put into the champions? Have only been around about 9 days in the bot. Songyun's Vladimir laning was excellent. It's the first time, of course, that he's been seen on the rise side of things. It's definitely a different assignment for him. And so far, the harass has been good. I'm sure when we get to the post-game damage dealt charts, if we had the ability to separate it by 10-minute portions, it'd be an insane amount for Key and Songyun, but it hasn't translated into the sort of lead that they picked themselves in with the last pick, Sarah.
Yeah, it just feels like the last hits have been better, and Hanwha Life, they really want to try and stop this from getting out of control. Teleports coming in from everywhere. There's 5 members of Hanwha down here. Wild Growth to try and keep them alive, but there's a pull for Ares. He survives for a long time. Linderung in trouble, has to use the flash to get them out of the way, and the tower was tanked incredibly beautifully.
And that's without Karthus even there, so a 5-man teleport doesn't get them the turret. That was the play Linderung made before, was making the big bot lane play and then taking the turret from there. That was the 12 KDA Darius game he played on the first game of the season. This one doesn't have the same reward. Darius backs off. Camille, after losing her flash kind of comically, is also doing very well in the laning phase overall. And punishing the Karthus Nunu has not been as clean as we've seen in every other Korean Karthus Nunu game.
Yeah, and despite the fact that Hanwha Life do have themselves a slight gold lead, it is still them theoretically in control of this game. It feels like BBQ are able to take more than they necessarily should be able to. So that final skittle to get rid of the Mountain Drake locked down here for BBQ. Tempt comes in. We'll even be able to get this cannon, which is real good news.
Back in the top side, didn't have to build double Doran's blade, so at least he's building a bit more for lane, and that represents Trinity Force in our current version of Darius, so even against full tank Mundo is going Trinity Force for the reset potential. Songwon has let his team down a couple of times, and he's all alone.
Does have Ragnarok available to him. Key's going to once again make his way over. Songwon, he's in a whole host of trouble. Lava flashing forward. He really wants this. Does have Wild Growth back in as well, but he's going to have to use it if he wants to survive. In fact, the flash from Crazy, that was a game of chicken, won by Hanwha Life.
Absolutely, I can't disagree with that at all. And they're going to be able to back off to a camp. And the only way Hanwha can actually find an advantage is the Soraka healing, turn on to the Rift Herald. That'd be a very nice pickup for them, given how the last couple of trades are going. But Hanwha had 4 control wards down in the area and really only go even, which to me, that's a disadvantage.
Yeah, and the advantage that they were able to pick up was this top lane, the massive wave, as well as all this damage to the turret is going to be huge. Most of those minions lost. Crazy unable to pick those up, and now with 3 members up here, they'll take the Rift Herald as well as the top outer turret. Ares throws his ultimate on this minion wave just so he can try and get a bit of a race happening and try and take down this structure, and BBQ do have the man advantage in mid as well. There's the flash. Beautiful use of the Wild Growth to avoid the taunt from Lava, and now the rest of the cavalry is going to come in. They do get a flash out of Tempt, and they're unable to get anything more as far as structure damage done.
Very optimistic from Ignar to get the flash taunt. I wasn't even the taunt flash we're used to, and HLE see this. They just keep following that big minion wave you talked about, Atlas. Going to continue to get turret damage done. They can even throw a Rift Herald into the mid lane. We'll kill it.
Yeah, Shelly's just going to charge her way forward, and that is probably going to be 3 turrets in the end unless Crazy can successfully defend this.
If you're wondering why Nunu with Smite Up didn't use his Smite or attempt to try to take down the health of the Rift, remember, it's a minimum 1,500 damage now, whatever the health is on HLE. They couldn't burst it, so it was smart of them to not bother wasting a Smite Up.
I find it really cute now that Shelly's a little bit older, she just does more damage. I like it. The rest of BBQ, though, going to be able to make their way finally up towards the top side of the map, get this one shoved forward. Aries is here, and it feels like Hanwha Life are just avoiding the Vladimir. Aries showed in game number 1 that he's very proficient at it. He's getting most of this farm. You can see, as far as solo laners are concerned, I mean, he doesn't have the jungle to take as Tempt. He's 50 CS ahead, but as far as solo farming, he is doing extraordinarily well compared to the rest of the map.
Let's try and understand how and why this particular Nunu Karthus has done better than the previous ones. There's a multitude of factors. It's both good plays and bad plays we have to balance together. We can learn that it seems like the Nunu going the Relic Shield route has been a pretty good one when it comes to actually finding an item build path for the Nunu. It's going to have an Aegis, so not quite as behind as some of the Nunus we've seen before, which has included Bono himself. So Bono has already had experience pulling off this combo in the first match of the season when they lost to the Master Yi Taric duo. I think that's already a counter pick, so we now know very clearly that Yi Taric is the better of the two, and that's why so many bans are thrown towards it.
Interestingly enough, it was Hanwha Life that banned the Yi as well in this game, so denied themselves that option.
But there's other things to talk about. For example, it's not quite the Nocturne, and it was Rush who was able to really shut down this duo by just putting down one deep ward and using the Paranoia. And Songwon, I should say, also made a couple of overextensions. So when it came to punishment, it seemed like they were the most set up to really shut down BBQ in multiple areas, after Crazy also could have no lane pressure. But bot lane went surprisingly well for the Vladimir, given the Rise Soraka. And in general, some of the execution let them down. And speaking of execution...
Yeah, they're looking for Lava here. He does get taunted up, taken down. Doesn't even opt in for using the ultimate, because he knew that he was dead anyway.
And Tempt is dead on, 179 CS, 2 kills, working his way towards his 3rd item very shortly. I imagine Morellonomicon on the next back. AP amplification, we're going to have to start checking in with some of those numbers on the Karthus as time goes on. And passing kills around, they're continuing to grow. And because Hanwha Life haven't slowed them down, Karthus mid-game damage is going to be out of this world.
Yeah, and you guys might be getting confused by the fact that we're talking about Hanwha Life as if they're behind, when they're obviously not. You can see by the gold numbers, they're not behind at all. It's a very even game. But we have never seen a Karthus Nunu get to this point ever.
And because it's purely support, because it's not even attempting to jungle, they're maxing Blood Boil first. He's basically just a roaming death cap, giving 140 AP maximum to his ally. So 4 points in the Blood Boil already. Was able to actually buy an item and has a Banner of Command. Just continued to be utility. He may die fairly incidentally, but there's a very long cooldown.
Ignar starting fights once again as there's Sangyun falling. Nothing he could do after that Hextech ultimatum. And there's a Death Scrod coming in. Ignar utilizing the Hexa Flash beautifully.
And Tempt showing us that press R and you got to pick up when you have a Karthus in the mid lane. Doesn't even have to show up. He gets the kill credit. He can keep piling on items. They push in the mid lane, and BBQ Olivers, will they be the first team to stick the landing on this hyper-farmed Karthus strategy?
Well, they were the first team to mess it up, so it only makes sense, really. Had a little bit more practice.
They saw an Infernal.
Should be pretty easy for Tempt to grab that. His Skittles are really starting to do some damage here. Let's see, wow. The total damage for the whole game?
That is correct. The total damage dealt in the first 15 minutes, and despite having flashed down, Camille out-damaging the Darius so heavily.
Yeah.
It's a very surprising thing to see. A lot of that was off-screen, of course, and something to unpack.
Joining the rest of his team members as well, going on a bit of a gank squad, sort of helps him out there, as Linderung has been more just in a side lane, pushing things forward. He's got his Trinity Force now by the looks of things at 17 minutes into the game. There's the transformation, so does still beat Crazy to that punch at least. 1-0-1, of course, for the Darius. Okay.
Bono's not playing a lot of League of Legends this game.
Oh, he's just on follow.
Yep.
I mean, we don't have that option in League of Legends.
No, you can't just...
It is what he sort of is right now.
You only bind yourself if you're the Callista, sadly.
Yeah. Some other games where I often play the game on follow. Can't do it for League of Legends. Have to actually be there. Sometimes you just want to go and make a coffee.
188 of his own AP. He's going to get some donations, of course, things goes on, but that's the current number. Not explosive yet because of the utility in the Morellonomicon. Very needed against Soraka Lulu, so
yeah,
definitely the right choice of itemization from Tempt.
Also can, I believe, give Grievous Wounds to all of the members of Hanwha Life if he Requiems early.
Yes.
Which is going to be pretty useful when the Wish is going to be necessary in later team fights.
Right now, getting an extra 83 AP from the Blood Boil. As you can notice, that's level 4 Blood Boil coming through from Bono.
Wow. That's silly.
212 CS is pretty happy. If you look at the numbers all together, though, it doesn't feel like they've had access to as many minions, which is pretty predictable given how the lanes have been going earlier. So overall, Hanwha Life have more minions across 5, but more minions on just the Karthus has a lot of value in and of itself as well.
Yeah, well, multiplying all of the items together is actually more valuable generally, so you are going to get more out of having a concentrated money source.
And just the idea of a hypercarry is so foreign to League of Legends in that way, where funneling resources is pretty common in other MOBAs. It is very different in League of Legends. So
yeah, I feel like Uzi's sort of our only really big example of just taking everything.
Where they just sometimes even halt their rotational play to give him minion waves. You're absolutely right in that. So it's going to be a treat to watch because it's the first time we're actually going to see a semi-successful attempt at funneling versus an enemy team that doesn't have their own funnel. So actually going to be a bit of a learning experience for all of us.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of base races either, which this was almost looking like it was heading towards. Is a bit of a gentleman's agreement here. Hanwha Life are going to get the better of it, though, grabbing 2 turrets. That inner is going to survive, and they're going to take away the Crimson Brambleback as well. So they've been utilizing their early turret takes to try and get into the enemy jungle and take away those camps. You mentioned having more creeps in general has a lot to do with that fact as well.
1,600 gold lead on Olaf. But
oh, wow. Is this going to be just straight in to the Baron?
No.
They are pinging a lot.
A lot of the gold that Karthus has over Lulu is reflected in Songwan's gold, but Lulu just presses W and kind of walks around and maybe ults, so maybe that 1,600 gold on Olaf to get tankier isn't going to be as relevant. Olaf has gone for a selfless build himself and gone for a pretty early locket, trying to find his own utility.
Well, you can see BBQ don't actually know that Songwan's here, but Songwan thankfully does have a ward, is going to spot it, is able to take away his red buff as well as Sangyun. Whoo. Okay, there was a flash available from Igna there as well, so he could have actually jumped in there. Lava in a whole host of trouble. Wild Growth, is he going to actually use it? No, holds on to that button as Songwan. He actually thought that it was time to fight, but it's not. Ragnarok used defensively, and Hanwha Life Esports can't find their way in to any fight that they actually want. And now the re-engage, no more Ragnarok, and Wild Growth is going to be used probably to no avail as he tries to flash his way out. Requiem is going to do so much work. The Olaf explodes, and now the rest of the fight should belong to BBQ. Finally able to make this combo work. The Skittles are landing true from Tempt as well, and can they now take themselves a Baron?
Finally the offering that Tempt was looking for. That was the team fight that Karthus needed to get ahead. They have great Baron damage from Karthus in particular, double smite, and at least a couple of points in the consume. It's Baron time.
Yep, they're jumping on top of it. Not exactly a lot of tank ability, but thankfully Bono can recharge his health bar. Hanwha Life, they're not finished yet though, as Sangyun and Lava are in here.
They're definitely going to try and finish the Baron with the double smite.
Yep,
smite
a lot of
cooldown.
damage though available here. Can they actually do some cleaning up? Sangyun, oh no, there's a stopwatch available from Tempt, so he's not going to fall just yet, and even if they kill him, there's still going to be Skittles raining down.
Here's Linderung.
What can he do? Gets the apprehend, but it's actually Lava that picks up the kill. A few of the backs do come down. How many Barons are actually available? Because I'm not sure when Ares actually managed to respawn.
I believe it's 2, but not 100% clear that. We're going to watch the replay. Do note that someone actually forces his team to be flanked because Hemoplague forces 3 to back away. Songwan's all alone, so in many 3 to back away. Songwan's all alone, so in many ways, the Olaf actually accelerated the demise of his own team by being completely removed from the rest of the team. The team is out of position to fight on 2 flanks. BBQ flash in. They turn into the Baron from here. But like you mentioned, a lot of gold goes the way of Hanwha Life Esports on the back end. Lulu getting the kill credit on the Karthus was 550 gold for just her alone. couple of Baron buffs, they can get a bit of work done. When it comes to overall gold lead, do note that Hanwha Life Esports still has the gold lead.
Somehow, after it's all said and done, thankfully, for BBQ, they still have a lot of standing gold to pick up on this map. 2 turrets to 5 is the current scoreline. Even if the kills are even, it means that Hanwha do have a lot more of that global gold. And look at this turret. It's on absolutely nothing. And there is a Baroned up banner minion ready to knock down the front door. Does so very easily. Hextech ultimatum here from Crazy as Songwon is going to get engaged upon. They do land the Rune Prison as Crazy gets punished, has to hookshot to get himself out as Bono. He's got no stats. He's going to get exploded. It could be the resets now as well, as Hemoplague is going to go off but not do enough. Tempt. Is he actually going to get engaged on? That's the question. Can Hanwha actually find what they're looking for? Wall of Pain had to be respected. They're still trying to give chase. Whimsy means Linderung can run faster, but Ignar should be able to taunt his way out.
Not enough hard CC, not going to get maximum value out of the Realm Warp either, so Hanwha Life Esports will not be able to find any further picks. Going to be able to pick up the Mountain Drake, so that's at least something to halt the stacking that had been happening on the side of BBQ.
Same 3 dragons to start off the game as well, and going in the same directions. Glad that we've got a little bit of RNG change.
Engaged by the side of BBQ. Crazy was so split from the rest of his team that there was never going to be follow-up damage on the Hextech ultimatum. That's why the numbers wouldn't have been quite as one-sided as what was to be expected. I believe this is the previous fight. But regardless, a lot more damage from Sang-Yoon this time out.
But still very comparable. It's not like this Nunu Karthus comp has done way more damage in team fights or anything like that. 11,000 to 10,000 is very, very close.
Not a max AP build either, given that he's gone Zonia's Morellonomicon as his 2 completed items.
Yeah, they've got a lot of damage on this squad though, with the Vladimir already there, as well as Crazy with his Trinity Force.
Compared to conventional carries, 2,000 gold ahead is the Karthus, which isn't, say, the 4,000 or 5,000 you may want at this point. Still, this has definitely been the best case scenario Nunu Karthus we've seen when it comes to the hyper-farmed Karthus strategy.
Ignar going to be able to take a Baron buff towards this bottom side as Linderung going to struggle to get a lot of these minions. Baron wears off. Songwon is here trying to start this fight, but 5 members of BBQ are hanging out, and the banner is going to make sure that that inner turret does fall. So finally BBQ with a lead, but it's 300 gold at 25 minutes. AKA nothing.
Do have a true threat from Ares this time as he's gone max AP Vladimir Spellbinder into the death cap. See the gold gain, because before the Baron went down, they were about 3,000 gold down, even though Karthus himself selfishly was doing well. Now we're at parity, so it hasn't actually grown a lead for them, but it's certainly stopped the lead that was being developed by Hanwha in the early game.
Yep. And with, you know, no conventional AD carries, not a lot of them having massive amounts of wave clear. They've got so much wave clear now with Ryze and Lulu both building all of this AP. Even Linderung's got a fair bit with his Q available to him. These minion waves just get destroyed, and Hanwha just seem to have a lot of ability to move around the map together and get to where they need to be, or get to all of the enemy jungle camps, which feels to be getting them a little bit further in this game than we'd otherwise expect from this Karthus that should be able to take over.
Both teams can certainly wave clear, but both teams are pretty poor when it comes to sieging. They have turret damage, but actually being able to walk up an auto, that's going to be the bigger problem. So, sort of scenario where there's definitely items rolling in. There's no team that's snowballed out of control, which has been the norm in the last couple of days. Team fights, when they occur, are going to be very explosive one way or the other. We just have to think about the game a bit differently to 50,000 gold games in previous seasons without the ranged AD carries. The places you can fight, the best way to move forward changes to me. Previously, it's about lane assignments and being able to really crash a minion wave in top lane, then mid lane, and group with your AD carry and take down one of those turrets. Now, honestly, it feels like getting the control wards around the next big objective is even more important, because if you got the clearer route to fight, you're definitely more set up, given that both teams are all about the team fight.
Yeah. Now we've got a minute and a half on this Baron, approximately. Hanwha Life with control of the area as far as this vision is concerned, but Should be an opportunity for BBQ to get in there. Aries just going to press some buttons for fun because he had nothing else to do. Sangyun going to throw the minion wave back towards him.
When you think of the answers to Requiem, we do have on the side of Hanwha Life Esports, the Overshield on the rise. Of course, the Lulu ult, the Soraka ult, they have a shield as well. There's definitely, not even mentioning the selfless choice of the Olaf to go towards the Locket. There is a lot of denial on the Karthus in particular, but then Vlad Hemoblade comes in and some of those abilities have to be used earlier. Still the potential for a lot of AoE magic damage wombo, and it's why Linderang has had to go a very defensive build, basically stacking magic resist after the Trinity Force.
Yep. There's also items that can help out here with Redemption being rushed from Key. We've got Banshee's Veils coming in. We've got stopwatches as well that can be picked up by everyone if they would like them. Currently only Sangyun with one in his possession. Certainly a few other ways that you can get yourself out of the Requiem.
I'd like to see BBQ move their control wards. You notice there's 2 on the bot lane. They're completely useless. They need more around the Baron because Baron fight is going to decide this game. Feels like the Baron snowball is going to be immense, whether it goes the way of BBQ or Hanwha Life Esports.
Well, at the moment, BBQ hanging around the area, don't necessarily have a monopoly on the vision, but Lava has to be careful. Ares was just lying in wait. Songwon, Predator, it has been utilized here. The Wall of Pain is going to deny any engagement. Casual blue buff just to be taken here by Tempt, and now they're looking for the collapse.
Ares?
In goes Ares. Can he find the Hemoplague? Crazy though, he's lost a whole bunch of his health bar, and the Zhonya's is going to be utilized by Ares very early on. Now able to use the pull, but that was just a disaster. Just straight up messed up the combo. And they lose their Vladimir for nothing, and Crazy has to go home.
Unfortunately, we've seen some face plants. That was won by Ares. Just walks in Bono style and really doesn't achieve anything.
Yeah.
He sadly just gives his life up in tribute. Now Hanwha on the Baron, but no guarantees this goes the way of HLE.
Well, the teleport is going to come down from Crazy, looking for the flank, but it's still going to be 4v5 no matter what happens. You got the ultimate coming in from Bono, but he should still die. Songwon is still going to fall, though, as Sangyun gets himself right on top of Tempt, who will fall down in the end. Requiem available. Is it going to be used? Yes, it is. But it's not going to get any kills at all, just trying to deter that Baron.
Yeah, absolutely, that's what I was going to say. Wasn't going to get the kills, but is going to be able to keep them off the Baron, and that's a good use of their Requiem, a lower cooldown than it used to be. Seeing that the double death cap is now complete on the side of BBQ. Oh boy, the execution issues have really let down this team. Maybe they would be doing better on another day. We'll watch the replay, because the execution of the flank is fantastic, and flanking by an AD carry, not something you usually have to do. But man, not the time to use the Zhonya, as the rest of his team completely out of position to be able to commit on that level of a flank. Really, really poor stuff. And again, you have to remember this is unfamiliar territory for these marksman players, for these AD carries who have not had to flank ever in a row. You're going to see some rough stuff like that, as once again, Hanwha are on the Baron.
Well, they've got it down to half health here as well. Thankfully, Songwon did make his way into the pit in the end, but they're going up against double smite. The Karthus not actually here in the pit as Bono. He wants to try and get in amongst it. Ares finally goes through as the Hemoplague could actually pop and take the Baron. It is going to be Songwon that grabs it though. Bono going to die as... Oh, he's just going to die pretty easily anyway. Ares once again throws away his life. There's a banded up minion doing a bunch of work with a teammate in with one as well who's... Oh, I just want to get to the turret. Come on, move out of the way.
Pathing is actually stopping him from hitting it.
It was a disaster, but they are going to be able to get back and destroy this minion wave. Sangyun does so much damage to all of these minions.
Minion pathing is the reason they don't get that turret. The turret didn't take any damage from the banded minion at all because it couldn't actually get in there.
Oh, so sad.
We're going to watch the replay here. They knew there were multiple people in base. We now know it was Karthus and the Camille. There couldn't be a full commit. Even against all those smites like you mentioned, they weren't in position, they don't matter. Implied smites are not true damage at all. Nice Baron by Hanwha Life Esports.
Yeah, and that was actually not a problem from Ares. I mean, he did everything that he could, the best way he possibly could. That fight beforehand really was what led up to that situation though. And now, once again, the Nunu Karthus finds itself on the back foot. Hanwha Life Esports with the Baron. This power play is going to be much bigger than the one that was able to go through from BBQ, unless Tempt can deal with everything with his Skittles.
Watch now, Hanwha Life Esports, full minion wave with Baron. They're going to take this turret easily. Looking for just a Rise Rune Prison. Is Samyun.
Yeah, just running forward extraordinarily quickly. He has the shields from the passive as well, so feels like he can keep himself relatively safe, especially if Bono is the one that he can chew into, because he takes a lot of damage. Not a lot of items available for the welfare Nunu. I do love that he's gone the Cookie Monster skin, because he actually has a bin on his back representing where he's sort of been put this game.
Oh, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
So many speed ups on the side of HLE. They have the Whimsy, like you mentioned. Rise can put his Nikes on all the time. Back away from here. They're going to hit the side. Then they got the objective. They didn't need to fight after it, even though a team fight would have represented a game victory. The side of Hanwha. Back away. They continue to purchase. The items are really starting to come together. Lichbane, actually, the choice here by Lava. Feels like every AP Lulu is building something different, whatever the role. We saw the Nashors yesterday.
So many different builds. BBQ trying to start this fight. A lot of flanking options, but Sangyun is going to make his way forward. Ares might actually be in this fight a little bit too late, as Ignar gets a decent taunt, but they just lose too much. And you can see the Vladimir, he's just going back home. He knows that he just needs to give up this fight.
Ares can't get in there. Crazy exposed in the middle. The Camille and the Shen not happening in unison. And HLE want to close on this Baron.
It just feels like BBQ are all at sea towards the end of this game. They kept themselves in the running for this so well. We thought that the Nunu Karthus was finally going to get a victory, but this looks like it's all over. Hanwha Life Esports, so many minions, so much damage. Once again, the Darius doing work underneath these turrets. The Nexus is exposed, and that's going to be the 2-0 for Hanwha Life, formerly Rocks Tigers, and a great start.
Very well-deserved victory for HLE, but you have to say BBQ seemed to know what was good, but actually piloting it man on man. Everyone kind of let the team down at different moments over the course of 2 games. And Hanwha Life Esports' average level of League of Legends was significantly higher. That sort of series from BBQ makes me think, just go back to keeping it simple. I think go back to the AD carry. It's working in the LPL. It's still situationally possible. They won't take any marksman bans in this game. They aren't able to fully, as a team, play the Nunu Karthus, have their new AD carry in Ares, who it's enough to step up from Challenger to the LCK, but step up from Challenger to the LCK and play Vladimir and other champions than he's used to. They're just setting themselves up for failure with too many different problems. And now, if you were come in to independently analyze BBQ and say, how do we make you win? The scientific method couldn't be applied because too many different things are changing at the same time. And unfortunately, that means they lose 2-0.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have a really bad day, and I feel like Bono, certainly game number 1, definitely more of a representation of having a bad day, but even the Nunu didn't really work out. Ares had that huge fumble after I've been praising him for the entire series, and then I got made to look the fool where he presses the wrong button, the wrong time, can't get the Hemoplague working.
And then you wonder, you go over the VOD review and you see 3 or 4 big bloopers, right? Big mistakes by players, and also some macro mistakes, and also the drafts were decent but not necessarily mind-blowing. And then you got so many balls in the air that the juggling act is a very tricky one for BBQ. I don't envy them when it comes to the schedule either. So at the end of the day, BBQ, not a lot of smiles there, a lot of work to be done behind closed doors. Otherwise, blink and you miss it. With all the matches we're playing, it could be 0-5 out of nowhere. So unfortunate stuff for the side of BBQ.
Yeah, but fortunate for the damage graph for the Karthus. You know how you lose a game, guys? Everyone's done it, where they look at the damage graph and go, yeah, but I still top damage, so it's not really a loss. I got an A+ for this if we lost the game, but Temp certainly able to do a lot of work, but you could see Sangyun, his Rise played out phenomenally well, alongside Lava's Lulu, that I felt like the wild growths, the fact that he held it so many times until the optimal moment in a lot of these fights really was genius, as well as a reaction time to that flash taunt from Ignar in the mid lane as well to deny that mid-outer turret, which really could have started a snowball. That was a big moment in the game.
And it's a big moment for Hanwha to actually pick up their first win with their new sponsor as well. In general, their level was good. It wasn't mind-blowing, but they didn't need to be against BBQ. They win 2-0. They'll feel good about the points. They'll have things to VOD review, like how could Rise Soraka not smash Vladimir Shen. There's still things to improve on, but the 2-0 scoreline can't be better.
And I feel like it's once again one of these moments like we saw in our final game yesterday with KT slow and steady taking the victory. It is going to be Sangyun that picks up the MVP with a 4-1-10 on the rise in the end. Did a lot of DPS in that game.
Nice use of the Realm Warp when he did use it too. Wasn't throwing it out, had some good ideas about when to reposition, and that's also something to inspect when you have a former 80 carry onto this new lease of life, which is what the Rise represents. Also a counterpoint to his opposition, of course, who did heavily struggle in this particular series. Going to watch some replays. A rough one, Atlas. Definitely was a rough series, and does it mean that Hanwha once again be able to assault the top 5? Doesn't mean that BBQ will be struggling at the bottom. We can't know that this early in the season, but a lot for both teams to improve.
Certainly. I feel like a lot more of those things to improve are on the side of BBQ, but Hanwha Live, certainly the early game wasn't as strong as what the level 1 would have suggested. And after what was some yakety sacks with Crazy losing his flash and then Linderung unable to capitalize on that one as well, certainly leaves us with our heads to be scratched.
It also leaves us with the kind of simple question that we haven't gotten to, which is, Nunu Karthus, is it worth it? And again, so many things have to happen for this Nunu Karthus to work at the professional level, and there is counterplay both in draft and in playstyle that's been employed by multiple teams. This was a better Nunu Karthus game. It was still a loss.
Yeah, the best possible Nunu Karthus, but still couldn't quite get over the line. But guys, we do have that MVP interview, so let's throw it over to Joel for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translations for today, and we're here with match 1, going over to former Rocks Tigers. Now it's going to be Hanwha Life Esports, looking so good with a 2-0 victory on the day, and BBQ looking really helpless in comparison. And we're going to get with the players and see how they felt about the games today. Lots of welcoming today from the applause from the fans. It's great to be back at the winning end of things. And what you asked me? Well, I don't know. I forgot what you asked me. Sangyun, would you like to say anything then? If Lava has nothing to say. Hello. We have the 2 MVPs here, and we actually heard that your families, both of you guys, came over to watch today. Did you have any words heard from your parents? I always tell my parents to not come because I feel kind of shy playing in front of them. But playing today, when we got the wins, I think that's a good luck charm for us now. So I want them to come more often now. You do have a very meaningful win today. Of course, as a Sangyun, would you like to say anything to your parents? I mean, Sangyun, for my parents, they always seem to come when we feel like we're gonna win. So they have a knack of choosing which games to come and watch in, because every time they do come, we get the wins here. Of course, your parents are definitely giving a lot of affection, showing you guys on the cheering side of things. But before we get into the games, and in Hanwha Life Esports, there was a big change. You guys are with a new sponsor and got Hanwha backing guys up, and you came in with a bus actually. So you got actually a refrigerator, monitor, television. You got all on that little bus. So I mean, a lot of people are putting attention to it because Hanwha is such a big sponsor for you guys, and it's definitely has been different ever since you got that change in the organization. And so, of course, you guys are now comparing it to the past. And anything you like to say, that has changed in a positive way for you guys with this new sponsor, helping you guys out? Let's say one thing first. We have an air purifier on every little floor we have in our building, so I have something else to say. We lost to Griffin in the first game, but they told us to feel better for the next game, so they bought us great dinner after the game. So it's not about the wins to get the dinners anymore, and they gave us a nice dinner to make us feel better. But you know, we kind of limit ourselves from not eating too much pork, but we go for the beef every time. And just shows the priorities of our company. And we were just complaining at once, like, do we only have beef and do we not have any type of other meat? The complaints that we had, but well, now let's get on to the games. That's the most important part. And Talia seems to be a very strong pick nowadays. Has opened up through the bans, and I'm sure you have some opinions about that pick because were you about to use it when you first opened up? I didn't think that Talia would open up because it's such a popular pick nowadays, and but as soon as we saw it open up, it was an easy pick to go on mid lane. Of course, there's a strategic end to this, but with Talia, who is a better Talia player with you and Sangwon? Because you could have played in jungle, and that's definitely impossible. My opinion is, I think Sangwon is not good at Talia. Lava has played it a lot, so you know that experience does help out to become a lot better, obviously. But we thought that, you know, for this time around, the mid lane Talia was a better choice to go. People do say that, you know, the mid lane Talia is not as good anymore. Kind of preferring to the jungle more than anything. I mean, the lane pushing is has been, you know, nerfed quite a bit, and so it becomes a lot tougher against most of the other mid laners out there. But overall, when you get to the late game and you've survived for a very long time, it still becomes a very strong pick in mid lane. You talk about the team fight, and to have the video ready to show you guys, and while we look at this, really was about the stopwatch being used effectively to make sure stay alive in the key moments there. Talk about how that accumulates into damage, because that stopwatch allows you to just escape from everything. All the damage has been input into one champion. Yeah, I feel like, you know, even with Talia, I was mentioning earlier, other than the early game pushing the lanes, other than that aspect, Talia is stronger in some other aspects as well, so definitely not worth ignoring on that mid lane pick. And the first set was really important because how was it differently? You know, you had to pick the Rise and try to work with that. I mean, you talk about the opponent's lane, actually, the opponent's competition was actually a really scary one to play up against, and but our head coach was the head coach always told us that, you know, we focus on our competition and we just try to win out games with that and not really have to worry too much about your opponents, and I think that's what the mindset we had, and it really helped us out to win the games. And Pyke did make its first appearance today, and of course Sang-yun, your partner in crime, definitely disappeared for most of the game there, knowing the Pyke is such a roaming champion. Is this something that had to really be involved in how you guys won? That could have been lost a different way. I mean, we tried to just ban it out last time around. We never really decided to play it, but the opponents kept not banning it, so we haven't played it too many times with the Pyke. But as long as we have a tank support to work with, it does help us a lot in the end. So you know, we just couldn't ignore the pick once it was available to us. And mid laner, you know, you talk about the assassin supports. Doesn't that make it difficult for you? I mean, I feel like Pyke is a different proposition because, you know, it's different when you not really have to worry about the big damage coming forward from a support. And Sang-yun, you were focused on the Rise for most of that game. Do you feel like it's still a decent pick? Yeah, I practiced a lot of Vladimir, so I just tried to make sure I make that through. And I fought against the Rise, and it's just really, really bad for some reason. Vladimir's not that good as I thought, so. And then I play the Rise, and it's good, and I win games, and I think that's as simple as that. I played a lot of Vladimir, but he played a lot more Vladimir, so he might be just a better Vladimir player than I am, so. But what about Rise? I guess I'm a little bit better at Rise. I have to be. I mean, we played a lot more of that. And you guys can play a 1v1 later after this match, but now we have a couple of scenes ready to play for you guys that really contributed to basically you guys winning out right after this. You put the really just making sure, drawing all the attention in as we're ready to go right after taking that Baron. Just feels like the Camille trying to come in there, definitely put that feel to get against that, just make sure it doesn't get stopped in its tracks. It wasn't that difficult. You had to track to that to make sure you got the Baron secured. I mean, since ADC is basically non-existent now, and Camille, you just can't go against it as a typical ADC we talked about a couple of months ago. Any type of ADC would not be able to go up against Camille, but now playing a Rise, you can definitely go up against Camille now. But I'm just gonna be a magician for the rest of my life now, and no one can stop me from getting there. You do say, you know, if you go wrong with Camille, what are you gonna do? Then I can play the AC back again, you know, if I. And Hanwha Life Esports, you guys are, you know, onto a new start, and I've been hearing that, you know, you guys have been practicing much harder. I heard that, you know, 4 or 5 hours of sleep is all you guys get. And, you know, factually, yes, it is. It's true, and we do contribute lots of time on scrims and also our individual practices. And because of a lot of these new champions that came out and a lot of the new champions that we have to try out, it just involved a lot more practice time for us. And it just feels like that is the reason why Hanwha Life is so adaptable in this new meta, where it requires a lot new approaches to this game. And we have to hear from the players themselves, but how do you guys feel, especially with the new meta coming in? And, you know, let's mention the Karthus Nunu composition. And if we have something like the Lulu, make sure it just doesn't die, and make sure you can keep out the trades and not really lose out. And Karthus Nunu is definitely becomes less of a factor. So make sure you can defend out against that, and you can defend out against that composition pretty well. And for Lava, you had to actually play against that Karthus Nunu composition. Did you feel like it was a big weakness? Did you feel like you got that out? I mean, as long as all the bans don't come forward to all the champions, and there's so many things to play right now, it just allows a lot of flexibility. And people do say that the Karthus Nunu with Tangun saying feels like it's not the most important thing anymore. So he's trying to get the rhymes on with that Karthus Nunu. How do you get that down? This is something I don't want to translate, guys. Sorry. And now you guys did collect your first victory, and it's a great start for Hanwha Life, obviously. And you do have a lot of fans cheering out for you guys. Would you like to say anything to them, showing your appreciation for them? We have many games left, and we're going to try to do our best, and we're trying to make it into playoffs. It's going to be our objective. Hope we can get there. And Sang-Yun, I'm sure you have something to say after getting a win now. Aren't you happy? You gotta do something. You gotta exert some energy after that win. There you go. Sang-Yun's at it. He's at it. That's actually the Hanwha Life. That's actually the commercial advertisement song. Sang-Yun doing it right, representing his company right there.
Can we have a translation, Joel? Can you sing a translation for us?
And you do have the parents here.
That's a no.
Believing that you guys would have won this game. That's the reason why they came out to watch. And looking good for Hanwha Life Esports. And that will be at the end of the interview, with this team doing so good. Lava and Sang-Yun for the win, and we're going to throw it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel.
I don't know if we're going to keep Joel after interviews like that.
I feel like Andy would have sung it. Andy would have sung it, absolutely. No. That was one hell of an interview. So Joel had his work cut out for him there. As you can see, 2-0 victory for Hanwha Life Esports over BBQ Olivers. And yes, guys, that is correct. It means we've got about a 50-minute break before we're back with our second match of the night, going to be Griffin versus MVP.
Two teams that won on the first day. MVP looking way better than we could ever have imagined, 2-0ing their opponent. BBQ 0-2-0-2, rough start to the season. Opposition only gets more difficult. Remember, they've only played against MVP and Hanwha Life Esports, and there's plenty of good teams in the LCK, so they got to struggle, and I think honestly they have their own demons to also work through, as they seem a bit off the boil when it comes to the meta. These two teams a little bit more in the middle of the meta. Griffin loves that Nocturne Shen. MVP just seems to always have a new right hook to send in the boxing match. So I'm excited for this game, but unfortunately we have to sit around for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, a little bit of a wait until we get into this matchup that is on your screen right now. But like you say, so much to look forward to. And great to see, you know, Key playing the Soraka leading into this match, where Lehens looked so good on the pick when they took down Hanwha Life Esports in their match prior. So certainly a lot to look forward to. So I know it's going to be a long wait, but guys, it's okay. We can just prepare ourselves for what is going to be a fantastic match between MVP and Griffin. So, of course, Ian getting that quadra-kill. But guys, that is going to be it for us for the moment. Go do whatever the heck you want and come back in about 45 minutes. We'll see you then.